and Doobie here. What's the play for today? Well, today the play is an oops, an outstanding opportunity presenting suddenly. As I add a layer onto this art journal page, I'm gonna love the technique that I do, and I'm gonna, well, you'll see the oops in it, and guess what? It really is just an outstanding opportunity presenting suddenly. It's just an oops. Wasn't a failing, wasn't a mistake. It's just play, and you'll see how I handle it. Well, this is the background I'm going to be working on, and you can see how I actually made this in another video, and I'll have the link down below for you, so you can see how this came to be, but it was a very quick way to put a background on here. But there's a lot going on with it, so I'm just going to take some white heavy body paint, and I'm just going to paint over a bunch of the pattern with some white. So that left me a nice big field to put some silhouettes. But which one? So I tested out the one from Finding Your Tribe over at StencilGirl and didn't feel that one on it. And so as I'm looking through some of the others that come from the Dance of This Life, that stencil actually comes with 6 different masks, and I'm going to pick this guy. I love his arms, love the movement in him, and I'm going to use him. Now, I don't want to wait for anything to dry, and heavy white paint can take a while to dry, so I'm not going to wait. I'm actually going to remove some of the paint, and this is where it's so handy to have a stencil and a mask, because basically the mask let me see what it was going to look like when it was there, so I knew where to position it, and I'm actually going to put the stencil down here right on top of the wet paint. Now, I'm not going to push it down very hard. I'm going to push down as little as I need to, and then I'm going to take a baby wipe and I'm going to wipe away the excess paint wherever he is. So making sure that I'm getting the details in the toes and the fingers and that kind of stuff. And a drier baby wipe is better, just because you don't want something to be super, super juicy. And so after my one baby wipe gets loaded up with paint, I'm going to grab a fresh baby wipe, and that way I can get more and more of that white paint off. Now, will all the white paint stick to the backside of the stencil? We'll have to see when we lift this up. But if it does, I'm just going to call it an oops. So as I lift the stencil up, no, the white paint is just fine. So the white paint is safe. However, we do have an oops here. A great big giant outstanding opportunity presenting suddenly, because I don't like where he's at. I don't like him right in the center. I want him to move. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to put white paint right back over him. And I'm going to add some more white paint so that I can move him over so that he's not dead center, because I just didn't like where he was positioned. It just didn't feel right. So at this point in the video, you might be experiencing that feeling of deja vu. Hey, it's just what she did before. She smeared a bunch of white paint on. I'll bet she's going to put the stencil down on top of that white paint. And the answer there is yes. That is exactly what I'm going to do. The same thing that I was doing before, only this time a little bit farther over to the left. And I will say that this time, even though there is that sense of deja vu going on, there is something that's going to be different. This is not going to go according to plan completely. But you know what I'm going to call it when it doesn't go according to plan? It's just going to be an oops. Now, I know you are sitting on the edge of your seat with the suspense of what's going to happen next. And of course, I'm going to do something kind of like a little commercial break here and say, hey, if you're enjoying this video, hit that like button. And if you know somebody that you think would enjoy it, share this video with them. And yes, of course, you know I'd love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you can see more of my videos. And yes, indeed, there's even more fun waiting for you over on the blog at acolorfuljourney.com. Well, it's almost the end of the commercial break here, because now you're going to see the great big oops. Okay, it wasn't that big of an oops. I may have wound it up just a little bit there. But notice how there are some places where the white paint was pulled off considerably by the stencil. And all I'm going to do is smear some more white paint on top of it. Yep, that's it. Now, of course, I have to make this a little more challenging because I want to finesse up the paint a little bit more. So I'm going to take that mask that goes with it, and I'm just going to put it right back on top. That's going to protect it. And then I'm able to then come over it with the white paint and really get close to it without risking any of the lines or edges of what I've been doing. That way it'll look all nice and crisp all around it. And one might say I'm getting a little bit obsessive about this and keep taking this a little bit farther than maybe I had to. But you know what? I'm having fun playing, so why not? So what's going to happen next on this page? Well, once I'm done fiddling around with that white, and you bet I'm not done fiddling with it, then I'm going to let it dry. And then I'm going to see what comes next with it because I don't have any idea what I'm going to do next to it. I'm just enjoying what it is right now. Now, you might not want the play to end, and it doesn't have to. If you head on over to the blog at acolorfuljourney.com, I have got a newsletter with a free downloadable video and PDF waiting for you, sharing with you how I play around with sparks of artspiration. So even though this video is coming to an end, the play doesn't have to. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of your colorful journey.